All right, Trump's legal situation. Federal charges, Jack Smith, gone. Okay? Smith will be gone momentarily. He'll resign. There's not going to be any document case. It's all over for that. That leaves two cases. New York City, which is defiant, and Georgia, that case is falling apart. The Georgia case will be thrown out. So New York City, Donald Trump's supposed to be sentenced next week. That will not happen. There are appeals underway on a variety of levels, so there's not going to be any sentencing. I don't think he's ever going to get sentenced. They'll just be blocked and blocked and blocked and blocked and blocked. But interestingly enough, the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, who hates Trump, gave a speech or put out statement saying, well, we're not going to put up with any nonsense here. Okay. Okay. I don't want the Trump administration to go after Letitia James. I think that would be terrible for the country. But if she did something wrong, and you can see it, they got evidence, yes. But not just for politics. Is that fair? What happens to all the campaign money? This is an incredible story. So Harris raised $2.3 billion. I remember when I was putting $1 billion is big. And Trump raised $1.8 billion. Right? Harris spent $1.9 billion, which means she has $400 million left over. Trump spent $1.6 billion. He has $200 million left over. What happens to that money? Well, both candidates can use it if they decide to run for another office. So you'll remember John Quincy Adams was president, and he lost to Jackson, went back to Massachusetts, became a congressman. Maybe you don't remember that, but it's in Confronting the Presidents. So say Trump goes his first term, and then he leaves, and then he wants to run for governor of New York. He can use some of that money. Now, Kamala is going to run for the governor of California once, what's his name, gets out of there. All right? You mark my words. You mark my words. So they can hoard and keep that money, both candidates, or they can give it away. All right, Gavin Newsom is the governor of California. So say Trump wants a certain senator to win or a congressperson to win, he can transfer some of his money to their campaigns in 2026. He can do that. And he can give money to the Republican political action committees. He can do that. These are all legal. Same thing with Harris. Harris wants somebody to win in California, and she'll do that because she wants to be governor. That's their next step. I was just about to say, by the way, I've paid 2 fines already. I'm not going to say that. But Harris, in the meantime, when the governorship opens up, you know she's going to be there. Hollywood will protect her. So she may show up on The View. I don't think she wants to move to New York City. It's got a nice little cushy thing in Brentwood, a suburb of LA. But Netflix, give her a 3 documentary deal. Hollywood will take care financially of Kamala Harris in the meantime, before she runs again. But she's not out. I think she's 60 years old. She looks good. So she'll come back, but not on a national. She won't run again nationally. The next election, I'm already 4 years down the road here. I think it's going to be Vance against Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania. And so it lines up right. Of course, anything could happen. But that's where it lines up now. Now, popular vote. So as of tape time, the popular vote was 158 million. No, that was in 2020. I'm sorry. 2020, 158 million of us voted. This time around, it's 143 million. Trump won the popular vote. Here's what I predicted. Go. Now, last time around, 158 million Americans voted. Astronomical turnout. I don't think it's going to be as high this time. I think it's going to drop down to about 135. So I missed it by 8 million. Not bad. Not bad. And the reason that there was a drop in the popular vote was because some Americans didn't like either candidate. Simple as that. But the fact that Trump won the popular vote with New York and California and Illinois, okay, dominated by New York City, Chicago, and Los Angeles, shows you the repudiation of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. House of Representatives looks like it's going to go to the Republicans. We're taking our data from The Hill, which is online. It's a DC thing. So it's got the Republicans at 213, and they need 5 more to have the majority, which it'll get. I'm pretty certain that that will happen. So that means that Donald Trump walks into the White House with control of Congress, House and the Senate. There are only 2 Republican dissenters in the Senate. That would be Murkowski of Alaska and Collins of Maine. So Trump has really got an opportunity, a historical opportunity here, to get what he wants passed. Quick, fast. The Democrats will try to filibuster in the Senate. Definitely Schumer will try to do that, but he can get around that. And so I expect in the first year, and this is why you want to stay with us here. We're going to track everything. All right, we're going to be right on it. We will be the authority of the Trump administration. The No Spin News, BillO'Reilly.com, our radio affiliates, we will be the authority because we'll report accurately and fairly on it. You didn't vote for this economy, but you're paying for it at the pump, the grocery store, and through that stack of unpaid bills. Financial stress crushing. The solution? donewithdebt.com. Unlike the others, Done with Debt has new aggressive strategies that free you from debt without bankruptcy or loans. They will negotiate with your creditors so that you'll have more money in your pocket from month 1 and every month until you're debt free. And the best news, Done with Debt is accepting new clients. But don't wait. Some of their debt strategies are time sensitive. Let Done with Debt hit the debt reset button for you and make your money yours again. But again, this is time sensitive. So visit donewithdebt.com or call 888-322-1054 right now. Chat with one of their debt relief strategists for free. Go to donewithdebt.com, donewithdebt.com. Joining us now from Oyster Bay, Teddy Roosevelt's hometown. If you ever get to Oyster Bay, go up there and see his house. Teddy has you can get a tour. It's a National Heritage Site. Is former Congressman Steve Israel. He owns a bookstore in Oyster Bay, Theodore's, which I like because it has my book, Confronting the President, in the window. I checked it out before I booked Mr. Israel. So all I want from you today as a loyal Democrat is that what strikes you about this historical election? What do you think is most important here?
Well, O'Reilly, thank you for having me on. And yet, you're right, Confronting the Presidents. It's in our bookstore. It's flying off the shelves. It's a great read, by the way. Congratulations on it.
Thank you.
One other thing I want to say, that was a very thorough unpacking of the election. But of everything that you said, the thing that landed most beautifully on my ears was that you're going to give better Christmas bonuses to your employees. And I just hope that I hope it applies to your guests as well. So that would be very nice.
We don't pay our guests.
I know. At least something.
I'll take you to Tabby's across the street from your bookstore. Best burgers on Long Island.
Listen, I actually agree with more of what you said than I disagree with. Surprisingly, perhaps this is what strikes me. This is what I think went catastrophically wrong for Democrats, and that is that we have lost the ability to assure hardworking Americans who are trying to pay their bills that they are our priorities. I think Chris Matthews was right. Um, when you campaign on a theme of joy, not only is that tone deaf, but it sounds as if you just don't understand what's happening in Americans' lives. There's somebody in Ohio or Wisconsin who's struggling to pay for gas, put their kids through school, save for vacation, and you're telling them that this is about joy. It strikes me as just not resonating. And so, for my party, as catastrophic as these results were, and they were catastrophic, I hope that we'll learn a tough lesson.
Well, you
That
got
we're
to
just
move
not-
back to the center. You got it. You can't be the radical progressive Bernie Sanders party. And I know where that's all the money, the Soros money, and all, but you got to get back to being the
Yeah,
old time Democratic Party. I mean, you were a congressman. You didn't govern crazy. You weren't a woke monster. You
no, in
looked at
fact,
the issue and and you said, "Oh, okay, what's best?"
I'm glad you used that word woke, because what my party needs to do is wake up to the fact that too many Americans and American voters just don't have the faith that they used to in our ability to provide them with economic security, to understand their everyday needs. And look, I have never pretended to be the smartest member of Congress, although the competition wasn't always that stiff, but I know my history. When people feel like they lack economic security, they're not going to vote on issues like
That's right.
democracy.
And you don't
And that's
provide for them, though. That's where you guys in the Democratic Party make your mistake. You let them do it. You get out of their way because they'll do it. I got people working for me from Honduras, from Africa. They're all legal. They're here with green cards. They work their butts off. They don't want Washington giving them anything. And that's what the Democratic Party doesn't understand. This big colossus doesn't work. You can't drag everybody through life. There's 330 million of us. Last word, Congressman.
look, I agree that we need to reevaluate our policies and our programs and make sure that we're resonating. But it's also got to be, I mean, look, Americans want fairness, and it's got to be fair. And so handing out subsidies to the big corporations that don't need them, but then saying we're going to balance the budget on the backs of hardworking Americans, that doesn't land well either. One final thought, if I can, Bill.
Sure.
Look, if I'm the Republicans, I'm taking a look at the next midterm election. You know better than anyone, because you're a historian, that midterms are brutal for the president's party. And so my advice to Republicans who don't exactly listen to my advice is be careful, because if you go too far, the next election will discipline you. Donald Trump went too far in 2016. Democrats won in 18.
That's why I said that Trump's got to get off to a fast start, because Grover Cleveland, Trump's compatriot, had a disastrous second term. And Trump has got to get and say, I said I'm going to do this, and he's got to do it. Hey, Congressman, we'll see you soon. We appreciate your expertise.
At the bookstore. Bye-bye.
All right, let's get another point of view. Our pal Bernie Goldberg, the purveyor of BernardGoldberg.com. He's already going crazy on the website with all kinds of analysis about the election. Joins us from Miami. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked the congressman. What's the big thing for you as an American, as a loyal citizen, from the vote?
Well, let's get the obvious out of the way. It was a rejection of the Biden administration. It was a rejection of inflation. It was a rejection of the border. It was a rejection of crime in big cities. But it was also a rejection of elite condescension aimed at, I use the term in the best sense, ordinary Americans. People have had enough of this. They don't want to be called stupid because they didn't see how great Bidenomics was. They don't want to be called a bigot because they're against illegal immigration. They don't want to be called a transphobe because they don't think biological boys should be allowed to play on girls' teams. They don't want to be called garbage. They don't want to be called Hitler. They don't want to be called deplorables. They don't like Mark Cuban's analysis, if that's the right word, that the only women that Trump likes to be near are stupid, weak women. They're tired of the whole thing. Now, I acknowledge that the bigger reason was the economy and the border. But Democrats will be making a big mistake if they don't understand the condescension factor. You know, people have had enough, and they said, I'll clean it up, Bill. They said, screw me, screw you.
And I agree with that. But the Democrats really believe that. They believe that if you support Trump, you're a Nazi. I mean, that's what they believe. But let's get back to nuts and bolts. I was pretty surprised that Kamala Harris, who's an intelligent woman, was such a terrible candidate, just flat out refused to answer questions. I don't know how she thought she'd get away with that, but she was an awful candidate. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. But I'll tell you why she thought she can get away with it. I'm surprised you didn't pick up on this immediately, because they had liberal journalists were sitting there while she and her allies, her surrogates, were making outrageous allegations against anybody who wore a red MAGA hat. And the journalists were sitting there like potted plants and nodding in agreement. If you have the media, weak as it is, weak as it's become, on your side, you think you don't have to answer questions.
Not in this day and age, though, with the social media and operations like yours and mine, okay, having a reach that is into the multi-millions. And when you go on a show and the interviewer, me, you, whoever it may be, asks you a direct question and you won't answer, you're insulting not only the interviewer, but the folks who are watching.
Yeah, you're insulting them, yes. And they also pick up on that, not just the insult. They pick up on, wait a second, the person just asked you a question. The person asked you, do you think it's a nice day out today? And you went to word salad city. Right. Instead of saying, yes, it's a nice day out today. You said holistically, in terms of the weather, if we're talking about climate versus weather, shut up. Just answer the damn question.
But she never got that. And here's the ultimate irony. We're going to do this heavy tomorrow on Thursday on the No Spin News. The media that despised Donald Trump to an extent never before seen in America except for Abraham Lincoln, that media has destroyed itself forever. So Trump's revenge is number one, winning, getting power back. But number two, the fake news, he doesn't have to do anything else. They've destroyed themselves.
Did you ever talk to Lincoln personally about that?
Grant. Lincoln was a little bit before my time, but I got Ulysses into a conversation about it.
You've said this before, Bill, about how the media has finished itself. There's no question that their influence isn't what it used to be in the days of Walter Cronkite or even Dan Rather and Peter Jennings. But how is it going? It's still going to be there. It's going to be a shell of itself.
That's right. A shell of itself.
People are going.
Right. So, but it doesn't matter. And all of the hierarchy at ABC, NBC, and CBS are going to be fired by next summer. All of them are going to go. You wait, mark my words. And it's a whole different thing now that when people want information, they're not going to go on to television news, and that includes cable. They're going to come to us because we're honest.
I hope you're right, and I suspect you are. If they
tomorrow
go to you
we'll
and they
we have the numbers.
You and I are not indebted to anybody but our audience.
That's right. I'm indebted to guys like you to come on and chat with me. I mean, there are some people who still refuse to do that. I think, Bernie, they just don't understand my charm. They just can't lock in on it,
I've always understood your charm. such as it is.
Right, which is a deficit for you. All right, Bernie Goldberg, I want everybody to go to bernardgoldberg.com. Look at his election analysis. Certainly worth doing that. Thanks, Bernie. Today's economic climate, very stressful, as you know. But with the Fed finally dropping interest rates, there's no better time to put you and your family in a better financial position. As a homeowner, American Financing can help you free credit card debt by using equity. They've already helped thousands of families just like yours. On average, American Financing saves borrowers more than $800 a month. That's like a $10,000 raise in the marketplace. Better yet, it costs nothing to find out how much you can save. They are even closing some in as little as 10 days. And if you start today, you may not have to make next month's mortgage payment. There's no better time to turn your situation around. Please call today, 888-462-9557, 888-462-9557, AmericanFinancing.net. By now, you have heard me talk about Delta Rescue. They are a fantastic organization that helps rescue animals from the wilderness. You know, I'm a dog lover, so is Leo Grillo, the founder of Delta Rescue. It is his life's mission to provide everlasting care for these once abandoned animals. I myself have donated to Delta Rescue. Do you believe it is part of man's duty to care for dogs and horses, the animals that so much of our history is tied to? If so, please consider making a donation or consult your advisor about leaving a gift in your will or trust. There can be some tax advantages, and it's a great way to help Delta Rescue accomplish their mission. So please visit deltarescue.org to learn more. That's deltarescue.org. Okay, back to the press. The Associated Press is a wire service. That means it writes articles, and the articles go out to all the small newspapers and some large ones across the country and the world. It has 44 million views, the Associated Press, every month. 44 million. That's even more than I do. Okay. It's run by a woman named Daisy Virazingham. Okay. She's the CEO. It's the first person of color and the first person from outside the United States to lead the Associated Press in its 175-year-old history. She is a British businesswoman. She's also an ardent liberal. All right? Who's running the largest news service in the world. I'm just going to give you 4 headlines and you can tell me. All right? Headline number 1. Harris and Beyonce ignite a Houston rally with a double ballot argument against Trump. Okay, that was a headline. Second headline. Trump says his New York rally marked by crude and racist insults was an absolute love fest. This is a headline. That's an editorial opinion in their news headline. Inside the weave, how Donald Trump's rhetoric has grown darker and windier. And the final one, Trump hurls a string of insults at Harris, including lazy, a racist trope against black people. So if you call anyone lazy, your urchins, anybody else, it's a racist trope. Doesn't get worse than that. It doesn't. This is the Associated Press, supposed to be objective. It's like, I love this. Trump hurls a string of insults at Harris. Wasn't there a string of insults coming back at Trump from Harris? I think there was. Somehow the AP missed that. Right. Television, Sunday news shows. I'm going to give you pro and con. Okay? Now, these are committed people, not should be committed to asylums. They're committed to their political beliefs. Let's go with the anti-Trump people first. Go.
He continues to spew all of these misinformation and lies about election, fraudulent election. Obviously, this isn't one his campaign wants him talking about at the end.
You know, everything Trumpism infects becomes infested. You look at his takeover of the Republican Party. We thought at some point the Republican Party would be able to withstand him and stand up to him. That has not happened.
That was Vice President Harris in East Lansing, Michigan, just moments ago, driving home her closing message of unity and patriotism. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's closing message continues to be divisive, violent rhetoric, like this remark in North Carolina today.
Harris has rebooted the Obama coalition. She's getting younger voters. She's getting voters of color to turn out for her in big numbers.
Okay. I don't know how any human being could listen to any of that. And on the other side as well. Roll it.
Kamala says if you're about freedom, justice, and compassion, you're going to vote for her. Like compassion for who? For Americans who are the victims of crimes, because we've got open jails, open borders. They've opened our pocketbooks. Who do they have compassion for? Everybody but the working, tax-paying American.
Hochul and Harris are doing nothing good for the American people post-election. If this were a marriage, instead of trying to save it, they're trying to take out the spouse.
That is the America that Kamala Harris created, and that the elites on the trail with her are celebrating tonight. As they all show, it's an utter disregard, it's a callous disregard for the suffering of their fellow Americans.
You know, Trump, he's not a perfect man. He is not the perfect candidate. But right now, he is our only hope to save this nation.
Now, there's nothing wrong with partisan analysis. All right. I've done it on occasion. I've gotten away from it, and I'm much more fact-based now than I was, say, 15 years ago. But when I covered the Obama-McCain and Obama-Romney races, I shifted then, okay, into, I saw the media disintegrating, and I go, somebody's got to step in here and at least provide a factual context, not I hate the left or I hate the right. And the audience for that ideological stuff is dropping quickly, all right? It's vanishing. If you want ideology, it's easy to get it on social media. And so you don't have to sit through an hour of getting hammered over the head with it. There's nothing wrong in doing it. All the people that I showed you are professional. And they say what I guess they believe, although some are charlatans. But they are entitled to hold that belief system. I'm not criticizing any specific belief. I'm just telling you it's numbing for me. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.